is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour.
Supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Tastes like Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Luke KC, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, make your crypto play today. Buffalo Wild Wings. If it's game day, Buffalo Wild Wings is the place to be. Altec Lansing. Just listen with Altec Lansing, perfecting sound since 1927. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your hosts, Nicole Hutchison and Brad Shand.
Welcome, everybody. We are back here at Sidecar Social in Frisco for the Cowboys Hour. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming out.
Nice crowd.
Under the circumstances, it's a fantastic crowd. We're very grateful to have all of you here, and we are grateful to have all of you listening wherever you are on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. And we are grateful for those of you watching, streaming on DallasCowboys.com. And we're really grateful for the man who's generating all the applause as he walks in. Here's Osa Odighizuwa. Give him another big round. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you.
How you doing?
Thank you for being here. That'll help if you put that on, then everybody will be able to hear you. Nicole and I were just saying to each other, Osa, that if I was a player, actually I said this, but we agreed. If I was a player doing a show like this out in public, it's about the last thing I'd want to do today. So we're grateful.
Just agreed to it before.
Yeah, but you know what? Everybody who agrees to it before, suddenly stomach aches develop. You know what I mean? And you're not like that, and we know you're not like that. And so we're very, very happy to have you here. I once did a I don't know if you were here yet. It was Jordan Lewis's. You weren't. It was Jordan Lewis was either his rookie year or his second year. They played in Denver in like week 2, and it was not quite as bad as yesterday, but it was very similar. It was a disaster, and I was doing the next day on a Tuesday. It was a Sunday. On Tuesday, I was.
This month.
Yeah, it's worse.
I was doing an appearance with Stephen and Jerry Jones for a group of sponsors at the Star, at the stadium. And, it was bad. The game was bad. And so I came in and I stood up in front of the audience of sponsors and I said, how many of you wondered whether Stephen and Jerry would show up today? And they were the first two to raise their hands. But they did.
Yeah.
But they showed up. So our policy here, and we unfortunately some years we have a little more experience with it than others, is to acknowledge and address very briefly a game that was not one you want to remember, and then we're going to move on. But what's today like for you after a game like that?
I mean, it's not a great day. You know what I mean? We just went over the tape. Just a lot to improve on. You know what I mean? But you know, we're still just gonna keep chopping. You know what I mean? Just a lot to improve on. There were some things that we did well. Obviously, it's not gonna be able to like show up too well, but it's like there's things to improve on. So we're just gonna really focus on that. Everyone, go and get your mind off things. Take a little break. Stay on top of your conditioning, because when we come back, we're going back to work. We got 11 games left. You know, we're 3-3. Obviously, it sucks to go out like that, but, you know, definitely just all you can do is work.
Do you get a little shell-shocked? Because, I mean, it wasn't good yesterday, but you know you're not that bad. That's not the team you are. Do you get a little shell-shocked while it's going on, and how long does that take to get over?
What do you mean shell-shocked?
Like, what the hell happened?
I mean, kind of, but, I went to dinner after the game, and I'm just like, I need to look at the tape. I was sitting at dinner and just like, yeah, I need to look and see exactly what happened. You know, I'm not like a finger pointer or anything like that. I'm like, I need to see what I could do to help
There was
to
a
help us win. You know what I mean?
Sorry, there was a message in the locker room post game, and every single player had said we need to just look in the mirror. Where does that start for you guys?
I think it starts with like the tape. You know, for me personally, I always look at the tape after the game, win, lose, or draw, just to see what, as far as like a unit and like my individual performance, like what could I do better in terms of like, did I help us win? You know what I mean? Was I making mistakes? Was there errors? Things like that. Anything that needs to be cleaned up. I don't want like my first time watching it to be in the meeting on Monday.
And what did you see when you watched it?
You know, like me personally, I feel like I could have done a better job of just playing like with extension. You know, I have really long arms. I feel like could have used them just a little bit better. I feel like I took some steps forward, like in terms of my footwork and stuff like that. But just being able to play with a little bit more extension, I think that was something that I feel like could have done a little bit better job of.
In this little period of time that you're going through with injuries, where there's so much instability in who's in the lineup around you, how do you factor that in, and how do you get used to, you know, whoever's out there is who we've got?
I mean, that's just the mentality that I've always had. Whoever's out there is who we have. You know what I mean? You don't really have time to worry about it. You know, it's not really going to do any help to worry about it. You just rally around the guys that you have. Everyone, like, all we have is all we need. You know what I mean? Like, whether we have people out or not, like, whoever's on the field at the time, this is exactly who we need, and everyone's going to have to do their job.
How much of a difference will having Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence and Eric Kendricks back, and even Deron Bland, Kalen Carson, I mean, the list goes on. How big will it be
I mean,
to have those guys back?
The list is getting pretty long now, you know what I mean? Definitely it's going to be helpful to have everyone back and be at full health for sure. Like, a lot. I can't even – because, I mean, like I said, the list is getting long. So just going to try and hold it down until we have everyone back.
Okay, and I know injuries obviously something you never want to see with your team, with anybody. But does it kind of make it a little bit, I guess, less nerve-wracking that it's happening earlier in the season rather than later? Again, you never want to have injuries on this team at all. But just does it make it a little bit, I guess, better?
I wouldn't even say that. It's just like you said, you never really want to have them. But it's a part of the game, you know. So just kind of rolling with the punches in that regard, you know what I mean? Just got to keep going, make sure we're still focused on winning games and winning as many as we possibly can. And just knowing that once we have the cavalry coming back, it'll be that much easier to do it.
Last thing about yesterday, when you're going into a bye, is that a good thing after a game like that, or would you rather have another game to focus on this week right away?
I mean, I can't say. I'd rather go into it with a win. I don't really think about where the bye's placed at. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather go into it with a win. I'm just gonna take this opportunity, take advantage of the rest, get my body all the way right. You know what I mean? Just come back fresh, ready to get a win.
Let me ask you about one of your teammates who does not get a lot of attention, and I talked to him about this last week, and that's Chauncey Golston, who is that your guy? Chauncey, you came in together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and as he and I were talking about the other day, there's just been so many quality players in the defensive line group that he's played end, he's played tackle, he's obviously an outstanding special teams player, but I think maybe he's gotten a little overlooked. And now, with so many guys out, it seems like he's concentrating more at end, and I think he's got the best opportunity, and it seems like he's making the most of it. But he's
1,000%.
You've been with him for since you both came in together. Tell the people about Chauncey Golston.
Chauncey's been cold since we've been here. You know what I mean? Like you said, we've had a pretty stacked D-line since we've been here. So there hasn't been like a ton of opportunity for him to get to show what he can do on the field. But I've seen it. I've been seeing it like at practice when he does get to play, like he does really well. He's always rushed the passer very well. And, just been waiting for him to get his opportunity. Hate to see it happen in terms of like injuries and stuff like that. But, you know, when it happens, when your number's called, you got to show up, and he's definitely doing that right now.
What's something that you appreciate about Chauncey Golston's game?
Chauncey, I feel like, well, like I said, he can rush the passer very well. He does a good job of getting off blocks and getting in on tackles. He's all over the field.
Okay. Is there something what's the most challenging part about as far as, making all these different rotation changes on this defensive line for you?
This is the most challenging part of okay. I would say just new guys getting burned, just, different groups in there that aren't used to playing with each other a little bit, just building that chemistry and stuff like that. But that's just, part of the growing pains, and it's going to help when we do have everyone back. Now, guys that typically don't get a ton of reps will have more experience, and it'll be able to, now everyone who's coming in is experienced. They've gotten to polish it a little bit more, and there's a better chemistry just with different groups rotating.
Tyler Sweet as well, getting a few opportunities.
Yeah.
What have you liked from him?
I like Wheat. He does a good job of rushing the passer. I feel like he's fast, and he's just out there going,
Okay.
We are on the Cowboys Hour at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco, and our special guest with our tremendous gratitude, Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa. And see, you don't have it up there. We'll do this when we come
Nope,
back.
I got it.
You
Right
got
here?
it?
Yes, I got
Who
it.
is making this extravaganza possible?
Albertsons. When it comes time to shop for tailgate favorites, go to Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we'll be back with Osa Odighizuwa right after this.
Hey, Cowboys.
Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys! Go Cowboys!
Back. Light Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back. Thanks for being with us. Brad Sham, Nicole Hutchinson, our very special guest, Cowboys defensive tackle Osa Odighizuwa. This is the place to be, Sidecar Social. They've got 74 screens showing the baseball game.
Kind of distracting.
He counted, by the way.
I did. I counted. And you know what I did tonight, because I said I counted them last time, and I think people maybe didn't believe me. So I went back and did it again, so I'd be sure to be right. So they got 74 screens showing the baseball game, and then the Monday night game will be on another 37. So there's a lot going on.
A little college football up there.
College football highlights. See, there's everywhere you turn, there's something. So Sidecar Social is the place you need to be, and we got plenty of room. So come on out and see us. So Osa, let's put yesterday to rest and move it along. So this year was the first time since you have been in the NFL that you had a new defensive scheme.
Yep.
I'd love for you to tell people who have never and never will try to integrate themselves into a new scheme, what that's like. What do you have to learn? What do you have to unlearn? How do you do it?
I mean, it's definitely hard. There's definitely growing pains. It's like being asked to do something a certain way, by one staff, and then like having that change up a little bit. Always just takes some adjusting. Luckily, me being an interior defensive lineman is not too much different. You know what I mean? Still kind of doing the same thing I got to be at most of the time. I'm a 3-tech, taking a lot of double teams. That's about it. But definitely is a little bit different. Not gonna lie, can't really go too much into it. It's just
you could if you wanted to.
I could, but it's a little bit different. There's definitely it took a little bit of adjusting, and I feel like we did a good job of just learning the scheme.
That was something that I was going to actually ask you about is this season you've kind of warranted a lot more double teams than normal. Do you take that as like a respect thing, or how do you kind of take that?
It's a part of life.
Yeah.
I'm a again, interior defensive lineman. I'm going to get double teamed. And I had a good year last year, you know what I mean? So I'll take the respect. Like, definitely comes with success. People are going to put more blockers on you, try and stop you from doing what you're doing.
When you first heard that Mike Zimmer was going to be your DC, what were your initial thoughts, and how have they changed?
I mean, I went through it with open mind. You know what I mean?
He hadn't coached in a couple of years. Did he have a reputation for you?
Heard he's like old school. You know what I mean? Pretty strict about how he wants things done. I mean, he is, and that's fine. Like, he wants things done the right way. We want to do things the right way. We're on the same mission. So, like I said, I went into it with an open mind. So, as long as we're on the same page and like we have the same mission, which 9 times out of 10, everyone's just trying to win games. So, I went into it just ready to receive whatever was being asked of me.
What have him and Jeff Scanina done for your development and your growth the last couple of months?
Definitely been working on my footwork quite a bit.
Okay. How often?
Tell people about that.
Just working on like proper steps out of my stance and stuff like that. Getting back to like basics and just hammering those down.
That is the part that I think a lot of fans don't understand, the importance of the very fine points of technique. I remember 100 years ago going to when the Cowboys trained in Thousand Oaks, and Tom Landry was still coaching, and Ernie Stockner, who was a Hall of Fame defensive lineman, was their defensive coordinator. They had a very unusual scheme, Landry's flex defense, and I would stand there in training camp and watch him talk to these great veteran players, Ed Jones and Randy White, and he would get on them in a drill in training camp, move your foot over 2 inches. And I would think to myself, what difference can that possibly make? And then you find out it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
How does it?
It's a game of inches. Like, the smallest little change can definitely result in big plays being made or not being made, and the difference in a game. Like, you know, you're always right around the corner, like right, just like closer than you think to making plays. So if like you look back at film, there's something that you could have did just a little bit differently or shifted just a little bit, you know what I mean, just over to the right or over to the left or something like that, like alignment, place your hand a little bit better, and it would have resulted in you making a play. So it's huge to be detailed in your preparation and your drill work.
I'm glad you said hands, because I was going to ask you, what do you think is more critical, if one is more than the other, your footwork or what you're doing with your hands and trying to keep the hands of the offensive lineman off you?
I would say they're both equally as important. Like, you could keep hands off you, but if your feet are wrong, then it's gonna make it harder for you to make plays, and then you could take the right steps, and if your hands aren't right, then same thing, it's gonna be harder for you to do your job. So you gotta have, I would put an equal emphasis on both, really. Like, your hands and feet have to be married up. You have to be taking the right steps. You have to have your hands in the right place. Have to be playing with extension, you know.
Something you told me is that you would do wrestling in the off season to kind of help you with that. How has that helped you with that?
I do boxing.
Boxing is boxing?
Yeah.
But you were a wrestler.
Yeah.
I was.
State champion? Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay.
High school, right?
That's what it
Yeah.
was.
In Oregon? Okay.
It's been a while since I've stepped back on the mat, but I box in the off season. I feel like it's good just for like keeping your hands up, working on hand speed, hand-eye coordination, and then the footwork that comes with it too is good.
That's something that Greg Ellis kind of preaches as well. I think he told Marshawn Nealon to start doing that as well. How often do you at least try to continue to box in the season at all, or no? Just off season?
Like a tiny bit. Like I get it in like kind of on Tuesdays. Don't do too much just because like there's a lot of strain on my body already, so don't really put as big of an emphasis on it right now during the season as I do off season. But I'm just trying to still keep up with it a little bit, dabble here and there where I can. Probably gonna get some in this week since we're off. You know.
What are some other things that are a part of your regimen?
Pilates and yoga.
How
Big.
often?
Well, during the off season, like a couple of times a week, but right now just once a week, and then I do like a stretch routine on my own.
I've heard Pilates is kind of hard. How challenging is it? It's a lot.
People don't give the ladies credit because it's like, and I feel like it was the same with yoga at first, but people are more hip to yoga now. But like Pilates is very, very, very difficult. You know, you could be a big, strong guy like me, and you will find yourself in there struggling a lot just to hold some of the poses that my teacher's trying to have me pose, or like do some of the movement that she's trying to have me do.
What's the most difficult pose? You don't have to do it, obviously,
but feel free.
Feel free to do it.
It's hard. The whole thing is difficult, like, and the better you get at it, the harder it gets. So there's not really a point where you feel like you've arrived in Pilates. Like, the better you get at it, she's just gonna add something else that you can do. Now think about this, like, you know what I mean? So if you're doing it right, it's gonna get harder and harder.
Do you do Pilates?
Oh, goodness, no.
Okay. Okay. I was going to say maybe the two of you could do a pose and we could do a comparison.
Yeah. No.
No. Okay. Can we go back to the boxing for 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
People hear that. So off season, are you in a gym sparring, or do you actually go out and box competitively with
Not at all.
people?
I don't box competitively. I do just more so like bag drills, mitts, and stuff like that. Want to get into some sparring. I feel like that'll be like the next piece that kind of help me take the next step in my boxing progression. But, you know, I'm just taking it one year at a time, pretty much.
How about martial arts? You do any of that?
What kind? Like what? Like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or something?
You know,
like that,
whatever you want. You know, Randy White, Hall of Famer, maybe the best defensive tackle. Apologies to Bob Lilly, who was also a Hall of Famer, that this club ever had. He was huge into all kinds of martial arts, karate and jiu-jitsu, but a lot of stuff that involved your hands and hand-eye coordination and using your hands to attack your opponent.
Haven't really dabbled in any of that stuff, I'm not going to lie. Just boxing, and then I have my wrestling background. That's about it.
You haven't thought about it?
Not really. I'm not going to, like, I do a lot of stuff in the off season, like a lot of drill work, like D-line stuff too. So just boxing, weightlifting, Pilates, and yoga.
What are some other things that you do kind of in your spare time that's like a day in a life of Osa Odighizuwa outside of football?
He's deciding.
Think about it.
He's deciding what he wants to share. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that I don't have a life outside of football, but like, you know, there's a lot of things that I put on the back burner. I'm not good at traveling and taking trips. You know what I mean? In the off season, I feel like it kind of messes up my routine. Like, I feel like I keep it pretty tight and locked in. Like, I'll go to concerts, go to basketball games, stuff like that.
Favorite concert you've gone to?
Like ever?
Ever.
I've been to Rolling Loud like 4 times.
Wow.
It's a music festival, so you get like a bunch of different concerts back to back to back for like 3 days.
Okay. I've never been, so I have no idea what that's like.
It's dope.
All right.
It's really cool.
All right, now we're just getting to the good stuff, and we're going to get into it more when we come back. Osa Odighizuwa, the Cowboys defensive tackle, is our guest this evening at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco on the Cowboys Hour, and we'll be right back.
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
All right, welcome back into Cowboys Hour here at Sidecar Social. We've got Osa Odighizuwa here at Sidecar with us, Nicole Hutchison and Brad Sham. And this segment is brought to you by Lucchese. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at Lucchese's 6 DFW locations or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Osa, you were just telling us about trips you were thinking of taking. Yeah. Multiple, not one. Multiple.
Yeah.
What were those?
Not too many. I was probably going to take like a quick one to Mexico or something like that. Want to go to Tokyo. I don't know if I'm actually going to do any of these, to be honest, because I'm a bit of a workaholic. But I save a lot of different places on like social media, like because you know how they make like reels and stuff like that, make it look so cool.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm saving a lot of those just for like when I feel like I can, like maybe, I don't know. I feel like for as long as I'm playing football, I'm probably still going to be a workaholic. And the way I see things like that is not to say it's like you can't enjoy life right now, but like football is so finite. I'm 26. I'm in year 4. I play another 4 years. I'll be 30. And if I stop playing after that, I have the rest of my life to be able to go travel, go do whatever I want, you know?
Okay.
So
When you think about, when you say you're a workaholic, in the off season, what does that mean? You don't take a day off?
I take days off. Like, I listen to my body for sure. Like, I have built-in days off to my schedule. I've just found that, like, traveling too much or, like, going all over the place kind of ruins the routine a little bit, like whether it be because a flight gets delayed, which happened to me quite a bit this year, I'm not going to lie. Can't blast the airline that did it, but
That wasn't their intention, whoever they were.
I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't know. But whether it be just like travel delays or something like that, just because I do get it in on the weekends too. So definitely, it just feels weird to travel. So I wanna like take a couple trips like right after the season, just get them out the way, and then just stay on it for the off season.
Have you always been a workaholic since you were younger? Or has that just kind of happened over time?
I feel like it just happened over time.
What was it that kind of was that like light bulb saying, all right, let me tighten up?
I mean, definitely coming to the league for sure. Not to say I wasn't beforehand. I still got my work in, stuff like that, but not having to balance classes with the work or anything like that, and then just realizing, like, I think after my rookie year, I realized I'm like, I have so much more time in a day to be able to do a lot of things that I feel like can help me with my game or help me improve than just like working out and going home or like, you know what I mean? Like, why not get another one in, or why not get like a drill session in or something like that? Why not go add some yoga or like Pilates or something like that?
Was there
into
someone?
my day?
My bad. Was there someone that also kind of helped you realize that, or was that just solely on you?
I wouldn't even say it was I wouldn't say it was a conversation or anything that I had. It was like, just I feel like there's this desire to kind of figure out what I could do to separate myself, get better, you know?
Okay.
'Cause
Well,
I feel like
go ahead.
after my first year, there was just a lot of things left on the table. It's kind of how I feel after every year, but more so like that year, there was just a lot that I felt like could have been done more.
Nicole mentioned the wrestling. So, and you didn't just wrestle. You were a champion wrestler, right? State champion?
State champion.
You got to have a work ethic to be a good enough wrestler to win a state championship, don't you?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where it comes from, is just like realizing I was that kid that was definitely getting in extra work in high school, throughout college. And so just getting, and you know, like rookie year is different. You're kind of getting your bearings, figuring out a place to live. So it's like, I'm like, okay, I was in transition that year, coming into a new place, figuring everything out. But now I'm here. I'm going to have a good off season and put together good off seasons now that I have a home base.
State champion in football. Why did you choose football?
Could have been a pro wrestler. even.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling, like WWE, is completely different. It's not the same
I
at
know.
all.
Do you like it? Do you ever watch it?
No, I'm not going to lie. I don't. I went to WrestleMania one time, and my agent represents some people from the WWE world, so kind of know like what to be impressed by, like the acrobatics and like the backflips and stuff like that. That's all real. You know what I mean? You can't really fake that. They don't have harnesses on or anything like that, or you'd see it. So they actually have to be able to do all that.
But they don't have to be able to wrestle.
Nah. I think there are some people that do have like a wrestling background that decide to go into WWE, but a lot of people decide to go try like the Olympics or something like that, and that probably would have been more so what I was trying to do. But my brother went to UCLA, like his first year at UCLA was my first year ever playing football.
He's a little older than you, and he was drafted by the Giants.
Yeah. So I definitely grew up wanting to play football. And just knowing, like, in terms of, like, say I have exactly the career that I want to have in wrestling, or say I have exactly the career that I want to have in football, I'll have to go back and get a job after a long and very decorated wrestling career. Long and very decorated football career, side quests. After that, I'm doing side quests, you know what I mean?
So you mean because you chose football and it's more lucrative, you don't have to worry about what you want to do when you grow up?
I mean, this is what I want to do.
But you can't do it forever.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think about life after football and what I would do afterwards. But the goal is to be able to do things because I want to do them and have, like, passion projects and stuff like that, rather than having something that I have to go do because I don't know where my next check's coming from, or you know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So what are your passion projects?
I mean, I want to coach for sure.
You do?
Want to give back. And maybe not so in the capacity where I'm there all the time. Like all those things that I was talking to you guys about, like the travel, the places that I save, like that's going to be a huge part of it when I'm done. Want to be able to go see the world and experience all that stuff. But definitely giving back, taking the knowledge that I've gained on my way here to be able to give it back to kids younger than myself, like once I get done, and see how many more times I can make it to the NFL by way of the different kids that I'll be able to just pour into and hopefully get them to this level.
Yep.
As opposed to wanting to coach in the NFL.
Nah. That time commitment is crazy. The time commitment that coaches have is insane. Like, we put our bodies on the line, but they're there all day, all the time. Like, I couldn't imagine being a coach in college or the NFL. That's why I'm like, I know me personally, like, some of the most impactful coaches that I had weren't even there all the time. Like, you know, they were there when they could be. They had a lot of other things going on, but they would cut out time to be able to come and pour into me and teach me a lesson here or there, give me a gem here and there, and then it was on me to be able to take that, polish it, and just absorb the knowledge.
So you're talking about in high school mostly?
Yeah. And so that way when we came back and we met again, they'll be able to see the improvement and coach me from there and that point on. So just wanted to kind of build that relationship with somebody, like, you know, ask me whenever you need something, like I'll be able to text you, you know, still got things going on, still started the foundation. That's something that I plan on continuing with when I'm done with ball. So just a lot of different endeavors, but to be able to pour in and drop gems on a kid and just, you know, see what they do with that.
I want to get to your foundation in just a few,
Yep.
but
Yep.
You personally, you just mentioned how your high school coaches poured knowledge into you. What's the biggest piece of knowledge that you've taken and translated that now at 26 years old?
I would say it's just the mindset and the openness to possibilities and just having a growth mindset. Nothing is fixed or static. Like, I have control of my life and the way that I approach everything. I'm in the driver's seat. So going into that with a positive, open mind, knowing that if I work hard, I'm able to achieve anything that I want to in this life.
I like that.
Before we get off the subject of coaches, we talk about coordinators, but every time there's a coordinator change, there's also a position coach change. And I know all of you who played for Aiden Dirty, who's in Seattle right now, really related to him. He's a great person, great coach.
Guy.
And you had to get used to some different people. So I don't know how many folks listening know very much about Jeff Scanina. He played in the league for a long time. I saw him play.
For like 17 years.
How would you describe Jeff Scanina to people who don't know anything about him?
I mean, it's an interesting guy. I'm not gonna lie. He's a good dude, great coach. Definitely interesting to be around. It's hard to describe. I feel like you would have to meet him in person to get a real feel for him, you know. But he definitely got a lot of personality.
How much do you like the fact that, you know, your D-line coach has so many different personalities? Not in a bad way. Good way.
I think it keeps things interesting. definitely keeps things interesting.
Okay.
So
Never a dull moment in the D-line room.
He is, how would you describe, you've got a family member who you care about, and they're going to meet him for the first time, and you want to prepare them. Let me tell you about my coach. What are you going to tell them?
I mean, he's different in the meeting room than he is, like, if you were meeting a family member. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like I would be different in the locker room when it's just me and my guys versus, like, if I'm out in public or if I'm on a show right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to describe, but you have to meet him. He's a great guy.
We can say he's intense?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely intense. He's going to coach us hard always, and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? He's trying to have us work, and he's very intense about it, wants to maximize every second of time that we have together to make sure that we're using it to get better. And that's honestly the thing that I enjoy the most.
How does he compare to other coaches that you've had?
I would say he's a little different than AD for sure. AD is not as intense. He's definitely going to work us, but he's definitely personality-wise not as intense. It's kind of similar to a D-line coach that I had at UCLA in terms of intensity, so I'm kind of used to it. There was Coach Vince at UCLA. He's with the Packers now, actually. Super intense. You know, you would be able to hear him from across the field as he's coaching us on the sled or during our D-line Indy, whatever you have it. So I'm kind of used to the intensity.
All right, we're going to take our last break. Back with audience questions and more. We haven't even talked about anime yet, but
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit about one of Osa's passions,
Favorite
anime.
part.
We are at Sidecar Social at the Star District in Frisco with Osa Odighizuwa on the Cowboys Hour. We'll be right back.
Go Cowboys!
Back to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons and broadcasting live from Sidecar Social at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back on the Cowboys Hour. Brad Sham and Nicole Hutchinson, our special guest, Osa Odighizuwa, the Cowboys defensive tackle. And we will have a show next week despite the fact that there's no game this weekend. Doesn't stop us. We'll be right back here on the Cowboys Hour next Monday night. You mentioned that you wanted to go to Japan.
Yes, sir.
And is that because of your love of anime, or what's the cause and effect there?
I feel like I definitely watched too much anime to not go to Japan ever, but there's also a lot of really cool, like, geographic locations, a lot of cool nature spots that they got going on in Japan. Just definitely a bunch of cool sights to go see over there.
I think what I'm asking you is, did you become an anime fan because you were attracted to Japan, or did you become interested in Japan because you're an anime fan?
Definitely the latter. So I didn't even know about really Japan or Asia. I just knew, like, when I would always watch anime growing up, and I was, like, big into cartoons and stuff like that, but I noticed that the best cartoons would always have, like, this little TV Tokyo thing on there. And I think just as I've grown up and my appreciation for creativity has gone up, just knowing that I'm like, the fact that this comes from that place and all these amazing stories and this art style comes from Japan, definitely want to go experience it. And then also just want to go to, like, the Crunchyroll Awards too, which...
What are those? What's
so
that?
basically they give out, like, awards for best anime of the year, stuff like that. It's like the Oscars, but
got
for
it.
anime.
Your favorite anime show is Naruto?
Nah, my favorite is Bleach of all time.
I could have sworn you told me this last year it was Naruto.
Favorite of all time is Bleach. I love Naruto, though. It's in my top 5.
Okay.
Definitely feel like it's one of the best stories ever told. But Bleach
Okay.
is my favorite.
I remember you telling me about, like, the perseverance was your favorite part about the Naruto
Yeah.
stories. Okay.
Yeah.
See? Okay.
We had a conversation about it for
we
sure.
did. I do remember this. But, I mean, in what ways have you had to persevere as far as football or just in your life in general? How you kind of translated that storytelling to your life?
I think as an athlete, you can definitely appreciate one, Naruto, and then I was even talking to someone else about Bleach and just, like, how some of that stuff plays into it as well, like, just in real life. But, like, as an athlete, I think just the hard work, especially when it comes to, like, Naruto and stuff like that, orphan kid, working super hard. Takes him about 700 episodes, but he ends up achieving his dream and, like, becoming the leader of his village. So there's like a lot of hours that he put in by himself, like in the middle of the forest, just training, hitting the trees, just sharpening his sword and his skills until he was able to achieve that goal. Despite what anyone said to him, like they were down talking, insulting him, no one liked him, like despite all the naysayers and the adversity that he went through, he just kept pushing and was able to achieve his dreams.
Now, the other show is Bleach.
Yeah.
What is that show about?
It's kind of different. It's kind of like kid just minding his own business. Basically, he's thrust into this situation where he's fighting for his life and he's trying to protect his family and his loved ones. But as the show goes on, you realize it's more so about the resolve that he has to do that, to save his family, to win these fights. And it comes down to, like, basically the resolve and the confidence that he has in himself. But then he also has to deal with a part of him that actually enjoys violence and enjoys fighting. There's, like, a darker part of him that's actually enjoying himself when he's out there battling people that he kind of has to deal with and just accept at the end of the show to be able to, like, step into his full potential and, like, realize his full powers. He has to accept that part of himself.
Stories.
I'm just going to sit over here and pretend like I know what the hell they're talking about. Except that I'm terrified now. Just my son is I think I've told you this. My son's a big anime fan. He kind of fell in love with the idea of going to Japan, which he hasn't had a chance to do yet because of anime, kind of like you. But yeah, that's very deep. That's very deep. All right, let's see if we lighten the mood a little bit right here.
Good evening, Osa.
What's up, man?
My name is Rambo.
Rambo?
Rambo, just like the movie.
That's dope.
So, obviously, Mike Zimmer and Dan Quinn have two different coaching styles. How's the intensity level in the locker room during the Dan Quinn era as compared to the Mike Zimmer era?
I would say that's the good thing about the locker room is, like, regardless of who's coaching, the locker room is the locker room. Like, we control that. So it's the same. Like, the vibe is definitely a lot of the same because we have a lot of the same guys, you know. So just welcoming new faces into that, whoever they are, and just knowing that the locker room is big enough for everyone's personality. You got to just come in and be yourself.
You had toward the end of training camp, like 3 or 4 new veteran guys come in all at once who are still around. What's the difficulty of bringing them into the culture of your locker room when they've got a lot to compare it to? It's not like a rookie. They've got a lot to compare it to.
Yeah, I mean, with that, just like just add your input and where you think we can improve. Your opinion is definitely trusted. You've been at it for a long time. You're not in this league for a long time without having success. So, like, when you get guys like LJ, like Linval, and Jordan Phillips and EK that come in, he didn't come in like late. He came in the spring. But guys with, like, 10-plus years of experience were definitely open to opinions and stuff like that. And, like, obviously you're welcome. We're going to pick your brain about a lot of different things and just come on in.
Do you pick their brains at all about, or you, Micah, or you guys who are in this system and have been in this system, do you guys pick their brains a little bit about the cultures that they're bringing in from other locker rooms or coaching?
Yeah, I mean, we'll ask guys, like, how was it at these different places? Like, when I'm getting to know people, I'm like, where have you been? Like, what did you like about those places? And then, like, once they've been here for a little while, like, I will ask that question, like, what do you think is different? Like, you know what I mean? Is there anything that you think we could do better? Stuff like that.
Okay. All right, another question. Thank you, sir.
Hi, Osa. Can you tell me the toughest offensive lineman you've ever had to go up against?
Toughest offensive lineman I've ever had to go against? Probably I have like a top 3.
Please.
Ooh.
It's going to be either Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, or Tyler Smith. I'm not going to lie.
Not a current Cowboy or former Cowboy, non-Cowboy offensive lineman.
I'm not going to say everyone else is like slouches compared to those 3, but it's like if I never play the Jets while Tyron Smith is playing for them, I don't think I'll ever get punched that hard in my entire life, ever again.
How did that you're a tackle. He's a tackle outside. How did you come to be?
I mean, tackles down block.
Oh, okay, yeah, they do. Yes, they do.
They down block, and then DQ would have me out there at end sometimes too. So I'll get to go against him a good amount.
Yeah, I've heard people, but I'm always fascinated by it to try to describe what Tyron's punch was like.
I don't even know if I could describe it, but like I said, if I never have to play against him on the Jets before he retires, I don't think I'll ever get punched that hard ever again in my entire playing career.
How has that kind of toughened, not that you weren't tough at all, but how much more has that kind of toughened you up a little bit having had gone against a guy like Tyron?
It's confident. It's like growing up, say you fight in the house and knowing who I have in my house, and then I go out and start playing with kids my own age. I'm like, I'm not afraid of any of you guys. Like,
okay.
This is what I have to deal with
Prepared
when I
you
go home.
already.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead. No, please.
I know you continue to improve every single year since you've been here in 2021. What does a successful season look like for you this year, individually?
Definitely, I feel like successful season for me, obviously going to the Pro Bowl, becoming an all-pro defensive tackle would be just the pinnacle of success in the season for me.
What do you think has to happen for that?
A lot, you know what I mean? Just in terms of production.
There's a lot of it that doesn't have anything to do with you, right? I mean, your team around you.
I mean, well, yeah, but in terms of individual performances and stuff like that, just continue to increase production, stuff like that.
Well, if there's anybody who is understanding of how to pay the price and willing to do it, it would be this man. Say thank you, please, to Osa Odighizuwa for being with us tonight of all nights, for crying out loud.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Are you a football fan?
A football fan?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do you like to watch football?
I watch football. Not like a ton. I'm not like a crazy fanatic about it. I'm more so like week to week, focus on my opponent. When we go to D-line dinner on Thursday, I'll watch the game. I'm definitely more – I wasn't a fan growing up, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't like a football fan. Like I didn't really start watching football until I was in college because it took me a while to understand the game. And now that I have like a deeper understanding of the game, like I have a deeper appreciation for the game. So anytime there's football on, I'll definitely watch.
That was my question. Say thanks to Osa again. We appreciate everyone being with us. We will be back here at Sidecar Social in the Star District in Frisco next Monday night on the Cowboys Hour.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this?